I don't think the pool has been designed for Asians to feel comfortable in, nor has it been designed for Asians to like fully, like the depths of the pool are not like designed for our heights, or like our buoyancy or whatever. Like nothing has been designed with us in mind.
I mean, we can't stand up in the deep end.
Yeah. So I'm just saying it doesn't really shock me when we're like, nah, I'm going to stay out of that pool.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of the A3N podcast. We got the Fung Bros, David and Andrew, both of us today.
I'm excited, man. Make sure you guys hit that like button for the algorithm real quick.
Okay. This podcast is going to be about the top 10 Asian issues you need to follow right now.
Right now.
At this moment, right now, in the world, top 10 Asian American issues. David, you ready?
Let's get to it because, we can't make a video about every single one of these issues. So we're just going to get it done here.
Yeah. We're going to hit these topics quick. Let's go. Number 1. Does BTS and K-pop have a positive impact on Asian male representation and for Asian representation in general?
Oh, this is a big one, especially for the internet.
Yes.
People have been asking us to speak on this for years.
And I'm not going to lie. We are not the biggest K-pop fans, although I do keep up with what's going on culturally with BTS and stuff. But I don't know everything.
You don't know what airport they're arriving at?
David, Incheon Airport in Seoul, Korea. All right, that's all I know. They go through that airport sometimes. I'm sure. But so there's this article that came out recently that asked, BTS is redefining what it means to be masculine and attractive in America? ? Because they're a widely popular Asian boy band.
Right, and they do not adhere to conventional Western masculinity. Maybe.
Okay, they don't. No, I think most people would say they don't. They wear makeup. They care about their looks. There's a term in Korean that they use. I forgot it, but it basically describes, they said, a man that's beautiful like a flower.
Flower boy.
Yeah.
I would say this. All right, the long story short, you guys, for all the BTS army out there, is yes, BTS is good for Asian male representation globally. K-pop is good for overall Asian representation.
Yeah. I think it's a net positive. Of course, it's a huge net positive. I would take it. I think that I will make this point that, girly or soft looking guys have always been in. I mean, you're talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, Nick Carter, Justin Bieber, Prince. These guys were all really popular in America. So I guess it's just coming from the Asian side, which is interesting because generally you think Asians would have to overcompensate for already being viewed with heavy neoteny or baby-like young features. But now it's kind of like having all those features is kind of an advantage now that you're Asian since K-pop is popular. So it's interesting.
All right, to answer the journalist prompt though, no, I do not think that BTS is redefining Western masculinity because Western masculinity will be still Western and based off the Spartans and the Statue of David and
Soldiers.
Sylvester Stallone to Nick Lachey to
Mark Wahlberg.
So it will be added into the lexicon, into the spectrum of a lane that you can fill, and there will be a market for that lane. But that doesn't mean, Andrew, when Chelsea boots took over for a minute, did that kill the sneaker market? Or did it just open up a brand new lane for Chelsea boots?
How about this? I wouldn't say it's redefining the word masculine. It is definitely expanding it, though.
Expansion pack.
I like it. I'm rocking with BTS.
So basically, to me, Korean pop has added an expansion pack. But it needed to breach the West, and I know it's particularly popular in South America. K-pop is BTS.
All over the world, too, but yes.
So I think in those places, it's not that the traditional standards of masculinity have been replaced or substituted, but there have been additional niche lanes that have popped up on the auxiliary.
Hey, guys, buff guys out there, don't worry. Buff guys are still in, but soft, skinny guys are getting more in.
I'm waiting.
They got a market.
I'm waiting for the chubby guys to get in.
Or thick.
The thick guys to get in, yeah.
The not super defined, but still strong guys.
Right. When is that K-pop group dropping?
Hey, the non-ripped strong guys, where you guys at? Where you guys at? Come on, start a group. David wants to be the lead.
you know, hey man,
No,
not
every-
everybody.
no.
I'll tell you this though, it's true that not every Asian guy, like for example, you see Pop the Prince, you have been more perceived being able to surf that wave. I would say that
I've been closer to the blast zone.
yeah, if you know about waves, sometimes you're ahead of the wave, sometimes you're behind the wave as a surfer. You have to be right in the sweet zone to ride the wave. Andrew, I've been mistaken for a K-pop comedian commentator. Apparently, there are some famous K-pop comedian like hosts of shows that the K-pop people go on that I've been compared to. So you've been compared to maybe actually somebody in a K-pop group. I've been compared to either a K-pop manager or a K-pop comedian. So I'm just saying individually though, I can see why certain guys would go against it.
Some guys feel like it makes Asian guys look soft, but I get that, and that there's some truth to that.
They might be looking in the micro, because listen, you guys, somebody's micro situation can be different than the macro trend. In the macro, which is the big picture, bird's eye, BTS, K-pop, it's all good. But I can see in the micro some people being like, for my particular situation, it didn't help or it didn't have as big of an impact.
I don't think it actually hurt any Asian guy. I think for certain Asian guys, it was like neutral. It didn't really help. How about that? I don't think it hurt anybody.
And it's tough because I think humans are more self-interested, so they tend to judge even big picture things by how it affected them in the small picture. Yeah. And theoretically, there should be a trickle down, but not always.
No. I like I said, it's fair to say maybe the whole K-pop wave did not affect you that much positively, but overall, you got to give it a net positive on the big picture.
Overall.
All right, guys, point number 2. This is something that people kind of want us to talk about. Is it better to be Asian Canadian versus Asian American? Because we know so many Asian Canadian creators, YouTubers, celebrities, Simu, Cantomando, Fruity Pop, and all Linda D, all these friends of ours, and we always kind of talk about like the difference between being American Asian and Canadian Asian. And their sense that I get from them is that opportunity-wise, it's much better to be American.
There's a higher ceiling.
The market is here. The bigger market is here.
You can work in the bigger market.
America has the largest exported culture. Obviously, even in Canada, they're still watching a lot of American shows. And in America, we don't watch that many Canadian shows.
Right. Like, I don't think other than Degrassi, anybody can tell you a single Canadian show in the history.
Kim's Convenience, obviously on the Asian side. That was the last one, really.
Do you know anybout who watches that show though? No, I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying
aside from the
Asian Americans. Yeah. Even shout out to everybody on the show though, by the way. But
that's the feeling that we get.
Read that ice fishing show from back in the day where the guys have flannels on. They're like, yep, it
was like a hit Canadian show. Yeah. That's funny, man. That's funny that you brought that up. But yeah, so generally conversations with them, it feels like that they're like, oh, I want to go to America because the ceiling's bigger.
They even have visa issues. Like for example, Linda D, she's 6 months in, 6 months out, right?
But
you get to make really Asian content in Canada, especially if you're Chinese. You can make really Chinese content. I do think in America, here's the easiest way to give you guys a very insightful answer. If you're Chinese, I think it's way more okay to be Chinese in Canada than it is in America.
It's a lot more comfortable.
But I do think for other Asians, the difference may be nominal, if at all.
Well, because the Chinese population is so large in Canada.
It's so disproportionately large. And I do think that Canada has a friendlier relationship with China. It's not as adversarial on like some sort of macro big picture, like Cold War level. So basically, I think, as a Chinese creator, I always felt like it was weird being Chinese in America, because in America, you're supposed to kind of be like against Chinese things or Chinese. Yeah.
I think it's important to note that in America, we have way more different types of Asians here. Like
way more
yeah, we have, our population size is bigger, everything like that. Even though Asians make up a larger percentage of Canada, their population is so much smaller. And most of those Asians are Chinese of Chinese descent. Obviously, there's other ones, but they're
because
not
I just
as
see
big.
the content that I see coming out of Canada on YouTube. It's very Asian. It's very Chinese.
Yeah.
Like into the little dramas, the C dramas, and growing up in America, Andrew, if you make a joke about a C drama, even for ABCs, that's going way over our heads because we don't even follow it. We don't even know what's going on.
For sure. I mean, I think, but what I'll say this is that I think if you're like a chill Chinese guy and you don't want to face like any racism, I think Canada's a good play.
Yeah.
It's a nice place. And I think everybody's nice from there. You're,
Well, I think
you're
it
trained
ju-
to be
yeah.
nice. It's a more multicultural society. It's promoted to be more like that.
I've heard it compared to in Canada, they call America a fondue, which is so funny because a lot of people in America don't even know what a fondue is because it's French.
Yeah. And
right.
that's more from, should be.
That
from
means
Canada.
everybody's melted into a pot of cheese. So you still have your flavor in there, but it's like, I guess America would be the powerful cheese you're all melted in.
You're mixing sort of, but you're covered with a strong flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they are a mixed salad.
Like literally just tossed together, different components, but still kind of next to each other.
Right.
And in harmony of some type.
Like the tomato is still a tomato, even though it's next to a piece of lettuce, but it's not like they're both combined.
They're not fused. It's not a tomato lettuce like tomato lettuce.
I mean, pop up a picture of fondue, pop up a picture of tossed salad. I mean,
yeah. So I guess it just depends on what you want. I think I don't. Obviously, you have universal healthcare in Canada, but you also have to pay really high taxes. So it kind of depends on what you want.
We have a cousin-in-law who's a banker, and they were talking about their check is just demolished by the Canadian government
because it's paid so much.
Because it's a heavy tax society.
Yeah.
But then they get a lot of social welfare too. It's just pros and cons, guys. Different. But I do think. All right, I'll tell you this, Andrew. I do know people that would have had a better life being born in Canada.
Oh,
and then I do know Canadians who are not reaching their peak potential by not being in America. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's really situational.
Hey, the grass is always greener on the other side of the border, huh?
I think the answer is that obviously they're two different environments, but you need to look at your own individual how you interface with said environment.
Number 3, should Asians get more involved in politics? Why does it seem like most are not happy? Why does it seem like most are happy not being involved? So should Asians get more involved in politics, and why does it seem like most Asians are happy not being involved?
That is a hell of a question.
It's a tough question. Obviously, it's hard to answer. Like we said, I would tell you guys, we don't have all the answers and all the solutions, but we're bringing these up because I think it's important to at least start this conversation. I'll say this before we kind of try to answer that loaded question. I'll say, for me, I think I see a lot of Asians that maybe don't see the incentive of going on politics. What are you going to gain from it? Okay.
You're talking about that meme, but what do you gain from it?
What do you gain? Community understanding of politics is low, right?
It's not part of our culture, really.
Most Asian adults in America still are immigrants. So if you think about the Asian population in America, 18 and up, adults, 80% are immigrants.
Super scared of picking the wrong side.
Yeah.
They do not want to roll with the wrong squad.
And the next one it goes into that Asians are split politically, possibly. Because it is true. I mean, most Asians, it feels like if they have to pick a side, they're more Democrat for sure, lefts. But to be honest, a lot of Asians, they just don't know. They're just like, I don't know how I feel. And they're immigrants. So on top of that, I'm just like, I don't know. I guess there's a few reasons why Asians would not get involved in politics, looking at it. I'm not saying it's right. I think we should, but it's tough.
Yeah. You know what? I do not like... All right, the easy answer is we should hop in the pool, right?
We should try.
But to me, I totally understand why people don't hop in the pool. I don't think the pool has been designed for Asians to feel comfortable in, nor has it been designed for Asians to like fully, like the depths of the pool are not like designed for our heights, or like our buoyancy or whatever. Like nothing has been designed with us in mind.
I mean, we can't stand up in the deep end.
Yeah. So I'm just saying it doesn't really shock me when we're like, nah, I'm going to stay out of that pool.
Yeah.
But that being said, when we complain about certain things and we're not in the pool, sometimes people don't.
Here's what I'll say. Listen, for a large population of Asians, it will be very, very hard and damn near impossible for them to get into politics. And I'm talking about like the older generation that's generally immigrants. I mean, that's just tough, right? They don't even speak the language that well. They're just, they have all these fears and whatever, giving up their information, voting. They don't, they come from countries where they didn't really vote, whatever. But I do think this younger generation, the second, third generation, these kids, these people who are capable and understand the system and understand, the culture, we got to get going. We got to try.
I think it's tough, man, because if you didn't vote, to be honest, in that Obama election, like, when were you gonna?
That was
if
easy.
You were 18, when were you gonna? When were you?
That was a.
But I mean, like, for the younger ones, I do, and I'm not like telling them to pick a side or whatever, but I hope they hop in the pool. Obviously, for us to become more engaged in a lot of Western systems or American systems, you're going to have to opt into the pool. And there's some pros and cons of you got to get wet.
Well, somebody has to hop in first so that more can jump in. Like one person's got to jump in. Oh, they're still floating. They're saying, hey, it's not that deep, guys. And then we all just everybody got to jump in.
I'll say this, the last thing. Sometimes the people who tell everybody to hop in the pool, they're not making it look fun.
Yeah.
You know why all the Asians are obsessed with going to like EDC and going to Marquee Day Club in Vegas?
I got an answer for you.
It looks fun as AF.
Yeah. Also, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. How are we going to get into politics if we don't even have fun in our lives? Asians are very, very focused on having fun right now. I'll say that. All right.
And sometimes following politics, I'm not going to lie, especially right now, it like drains the fun out of your life. It's not fun.
Yeah. All right. Point number 4. David, let's talk about sports. Let's talk about Jeremy Lin, man. What do we think about Jeremy Lin going to the CBA to play for the Beijing Ducks? He's over there right now, a couple games into the season, so far playing pretty well. But what was the overall arc of finding out that he's going over to play? He's not in the NBA.
Long story short, I personally went through a roller coaster with it.
Wow. Tell me about the roller coaster, David.
I just felt low at first.
Feelings.
And then it shot back up because obviously I wanted Jeremy to be in the NBA.
Well, let me say this. You're disappointed because, listen, as an Asian American, you want the representation in the league, in the NBA, the top league in the world. You want to say, yo, we got a guy there.
And then I wanted to redeem himself because a lot of people were criticizing him for winning that championship, even though he didn't shoot very well.
Yeah.
He
didn't really win the championship because he didn't really play in the finals. I get it. Yeah. But you know what? And that was the whole thing. At first, we were like, damn, he's not in the league. But from a friend's standpoint, think about what Jeremy really wants, okay? He wants to play ball. He wants to play his heart out, okay? He gets to play in front of fans that love him. He gets a nice paycheck. He gets to be the first basketball ambassador of XTEP, a brand in China, okay? And there's still an opportunity for him to come back to the NBA. Do I think that chance is very high? I'm not sure, but for now, he gets a chance at changing the world again because he changed the world once in New York, for sure, and in America in general. But going over there to China, to a different world, he gets a chance to change that world and impact, whatever's going on over there. So I think that's cool. If you think about it in the macro.
Yeah. I think his shoe with XTEP looks pretty solid for a first shoe. I think they're going to build on it. Yeah. He's been playing well for the Beijing Shougang Yadui. And I think he's been averaging like 22. They've been winning. They played against Shandong Heroes. Andrew, me and you, Andrew, have met the CBA team Shandong Heroes in San Gabriel before.
Our mother is also from Shandong.
Yuta Watanabe, Rui Hachimura.
Yeah. No, shout out to Roy and shout out to Yuta, but they're not Asian American. But I mean, I'm cheering them on.
The Japanese players.
They came through.
I don't know.
They had a little wave.
So real quick, I just got to tell people, I heard it's because compared to all the other Asian countries, the Japanese training system has the most American influence. I heard they're bringing over American, Canadian coaches for their basketball youth development programs from 5 years old and up.
Well, the Japanese, to be honest, always always did do things pretty well. All right, guys. Point number 5. David, what did you think about the negative portrayal of Bruce Lee in the Quentin Tarantino movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? This was a big movie with Brad Pitt. It was actually considered a very good movie, but the Lee family was very mad, and a lot of other Asian Americans were mad about Bruce Lee's portrayal, calling him, he was portrayed as cocky. He said all these things that supposedly he would never say, and then he got beat up by by Brad Pitt's character.
Yeah. They pretty much played him out like he was Jean-Claude Van Damme. If you guys know about Jean-Claude Van Damme, got beat up by a stuntman one time in a bar. Jean-Claude Van Damme at one point was viewed as like a martial arts superstar.
Yeah.
They kind of characterized Bruce Lee the same way, like he was more show over substance.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously people were mad about it because Bruce is the only Asian American untouchable legend.
Yeah,
he's iconoclast.
He's of the top. I don't know like who else is in that class, but he's the top one, I would say. Top icon.
You can't shade him. He's like Buddha.
Yeah.
But all right, here's the thing. First of all, I disagree with the portrayal. I think that Asians should be mad about it. I think that the guy wasn't buff enough. He wasn't ripped enough to play Bruce Lee.
Okay. Mike Moe.
Yeah. His impression of the voice was actually kind of good, though.
I saw a clip. I didn't watch the movie, but I saw the clip. I was like, it's not bad.
The voice was good. Anybody can portray anybody the way they want. Quentin Tarantino definitely does look like a guy who would hate on Asian guys.
Yeah.
Because he looks like he totally would like Asian women.
He kind of has a weird relationship with Asian culture where he does adore it and gives it a lot of props, but also kind of exoticizes it too at the same time. It's
it feels some sense of like ownership over it.
It's interesting, yeah.
He's like,
well, I'm a big fan, so I get to do what I want. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but sure.
Which is typical of sort of unhealthy fandom of really anything, right?
Yeah.
But I would say, listen, we got to portray things the way we want as an Asian community. And I think if we lionize Bruce Lee, we just got to do our own research and stuff like that. And you decide for yourself, because I don't necessarily think buying into that he was like, you should look into it yourself.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say. Listen,
because I actually looked into it. I read like 5 articles on it.
Everybody has the right to be mad at anything, and the Lee family, okay, because usually if you're going to use Bruce Lee's likeness, you got to talk to the family first, which you didn't. But it is a fictional movie, and Brad Pitt's character is a fictional character that I believe did not exist. So I don't think this portrayal of Bruce Lee should change our minds. I don't think it should be, I don't want to say it's not a big deal, but like it shouldn't change how you feel about Bruce. It doesn't change how I feel. Just don't watch the movie. F the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're not happy with it, show with your pocketbook and just be like, yo, I didn't like that portrayal, but you know what? It doesn't change how I feel about Bruce and the inspiration that I take away from him.
The one thing I don't like is I felt like they invented a fake guy to beat up Bruce Lee. They invented a fake character to beat up Bruce Lee. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, you mean because he's not a real character.
Yeah, he's not even a real guy, because nobody that went and whatever, his character killed like 100 people in combat would ever end up in Hollywood. First of all, I don't think anybody ever killed 100 people in combat. Like, that's just like a ridiculous, like...
Well, that's a movie thing.
That's like a Counter-Strike stat. It's not even like a...
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that it was just for them to basically play out a real character with a fake character. I don't like that. But yeah, sure. Anybody can... I'm going to make a movie about Quentin Tarantino when I get older.
You want me to do a Quentin impression?
Well, it kind of looks like a Family Guy character.
Anyways.
Or American Dad. Yeah.
Anyways.
It's that time of the year again. Time to share smiles and good times with friends and family. And of course, exchange gifts. How about you give yourself a gift? The gift of self-confidence. How do you get it? By having straighter, brighter teeth with help from Candid. Candid's aligners can help straighten your teeth faster and cheaper than traditional wire braces. Treatment takes just 6 months on average and costs 65% less. An experienced orthodontist who is licensed in your state creates a custom treatment plan. Then they show you a 3D preview so you can see how your teeth will look after you're done. Candid's aligners are comfortable, removable, and completely invisible. There's no hassle of going to an orthodontist's office. Candid ships your aligners directly to you. Plus, in this season of giving, Candid donates $25 with each aligner purchased to Smile Train, who brings safe, 100% free cleft lip and palate treatment to children around the globe. Give yourself the gift of Candid. Go to candidco.com/phonebros and use the code PhoneBros to get $75 off. That's candidco.com/phonebros. Code PhoneBros for $75 off. candidco.com/phonebros. Code PhoneBros.
All right, number 6. Fresh Off the Boat, the TV show, the ABC sitcom, has been canceled after 6 seasons. Woo! That show had a good run. And I think that show lasted longer than a lot of people thought. So first of all, I want to congratulate everybody on the show that we know. All good people. But yeah, it got canceled recently. So David, what does this mean? Is it significant? Is it like, okay, a lot of shows get canceled after 6 seasons, right? A lot of shows don't last 6 seasons. Shout out to this Asian family that lasted this long on TV. What's your thoughts? Did Constance get her wish?
Yeah, she probably did. They probably figured once that thing happened, it wasn't going to be worth continuing the show because people aren't going to tune in to even watch that.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like,
and maybe since everybody else is getting into other projects, it would have been a lot of scheduling issues and all that stuff that they maybe didn't want to do.
Well, theoretically, they would have had to all break their movie scheduling to do Fresh Off the Boat anyway.
Yeah.
I think the biggest loss is for Hudson and Ian and everybody else. I mean, I think that but for them, they're actually set for life. I mean, they made a ton of money.
Oh,
with the
as
show
far
too,
as like money wise, they're good. Yeah.
But I mean, for me personally, it represented the rise of Asians in mainstream and culminating obviously now all these like Asian movie after Asian movie after Asian movie where we're at in 2019. It started 6 years ago, and props to it. But everything comes to an end, and I think all those people will actually go on to be in other projects. Mm-hmm. I think even Melvin Marr, will go on to produce hopefully more Asian projects. Yeah. So I think that it's this great spark, and just because it came to an end because everybody got too big.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, if you want to look at it from a positive standpoint, just Asians started getting on in so many other ways. It's like Fresh Off the Boat did its thing. They made the impact, and they actually set it up for all these other Asian-based shows to pop up now. And we hear about them all the time. There's actually a bunch of Asian TV shows that are either being pitched or piloted or picked up right now for network TV.
Do you see Eddie Huang's Instagram post where he goes, "Yeah, it got canceled, but check this out." And then it was a Boogie for his Asian basketball movie that's coming out.
I think that going 6 seasons, man, I got to clap it up to that show, I
can't say I'm like that sad in a way because like
it went 6 seasons, did its thing. Everybody got paid. It made its impact. It set the stage for so many other shows. Yeah. I think people were inspired. Now Asians are on to a point where maybe we don't need Fresh Off the Boat. I think that's a good feeling. I don't know if that's the truth, but that's a good way to look at it. Point number 7. Okay, this is bringing it back to Asian guys. Should Asian guys just focus on being rich and making lots of money rather than worrying about all this representation stuff and being cool? Which is kind of stuff that so here's the reason why we're talking about this is because like we talk a lot about culture and like the things that Asian guys could do to get a little bit more attention or to improve themselves.
Societal
or
things.
Societal things,
Soft power.
To gain soft power in their personal lives. But then a lot of guys are like, hey, Phone Bros, why don't you just talk about making money and telling Asian guys to do something that they're actually really good at that will solve all their problems? First of all, that is a fair argument. But
I would argue that a lot of people already do that.
Yeah.
Dude, we have friends that work in like private equity and investments.
That make good money.
In the Hong Kong stock market. You know what
Dude,
I mean? Like,
not let alone in Hong Kong, in New York and LA. Like, we know guys who make good money in America, and they're not worrying about money.
we're talking about way more than we make.
Way more than us. We're not
More
we
than
don't make that much.
the majority of Asians in media and entertainment make.
Yeah. So these guys still understand the issues. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you're above these issues.
Oh, when I talk to them about it, yeah, they don't generally want to delve super deep into it, but they never argue with you.
No.
They're always like, yeah, that's true. But I got to go check my bank account.
It's the same thing when people criticize us being like, oh, you guys are just angry because you're not tall, good-looking Asian guys. I'm like, well, first of all, how many people are tall, good-looking Asian guys? Second of all, no, those tall, good-looking Asian guys, those are some of our friends, and they still acknowledge the same issues. They just feel it in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously they don't feel it when they're on like, I don't know, like an Asian dating app or something like that. They would feel it more when they're looking at the opportunities that their fellow chiseled 6 foot tall non-Asian model friends, you know, whatever they're getting through their agents. Like that's, like we always said, it's like different. You got to compare within class. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, it's not true equality until you can be just a middle-class guy and live just like any other middle-class guy. Like, why do Asians have to make so much more money? I get it.
But I do say, I'll tell you this. I get why Asian guys say just focus on accumulating bank accounts and residual investments and passive income. And
it's kind of sad, man.
But by the way, there are a lot of different levels of richness, all the way from like, I got like $100K in the bank, which actually, if you have that liquid, that's still, you can invest in a property at that point, especially if you leverage it. All the way up to like, I have like $1 billion in the bank, or in terms of,
Yeah, we don't know those people.
Liquid assets. Yeah, I don't really know.
But those guys, you know what, to me, it doesn't have to be money rich, man. If you're just an Asian guy, you live in a good life, you got a good network, you have good friends, you got a good family, you live in a good place that you like, and you just make like...
Ooh, you're talking about living a rich life.
Yeah, I'm talking about rich life, man. Like, why does it always have to be money? Like, dude, even if you're rich in like whatever city you don't like, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You're just not going to enjoy yourself.
No, that's true. I mean, if you were living in a, that plastic box that Magneto was living in the later X-Men.
Okay.
Even if you had like $1 trillion, what are you going to do in that box?
I'll say this, and here's some points that we wrote down. If they're this rich, it can change your life, all right? If you're rich enough to throw your weight around in politics, then you can actually impact things through that if you're that rich.
Well, I would say that's the $10 to $100 million range.
Yeah, you got to be rich, okay? Rich enough to never have to worry about money for yourself and your kids, and, you have millions of dollars. You're rich enough to live a really cool life.
Well, I think it's different for everybody. I think in America, you can do it on, you can live a rich life with less money than you think.
Hell yeah.
But it really depends on what systems you set up for yourself.
Yeah.
Or you can gain access into.
Okay. Point number 8.
Well, I actually want to make a whole video about that at some point. At some point, I want to tell the people, I want to break down for people how to live a rich life. But it's going to be different for everybody, because in a weird way, for some people, living a financially rich, empty life is almost easier than living a rich,
holistic life.
Yeah. And then for some people, living a rich, holistic life is more convenient and easier than getting financially wealthy. Yeah. So it's really weird. It just really depends on your the cards that you're born into.
It kind of depends on the tools that you have available and the elements you have around you.
Point number 8, are Asians crabs in a bucket with each other? Especially the guys. It seems like they are more like crabs in a bucket than the women are. For example, a lot of people say it seems like Asian guys don't support each other like Asian women support each other. Is this not a true feeling?
As far as media entertainment goes, let me tell you that is 1,000% true. I do think men support each other less in general. Yeah. Because they have to compete with each other.
Yeah, I mean, women are known for having more like support groups than guys. Like, what's a male support group? Like,
but then it's weird because in situations where there's not a lot of women, then I heard they get real. It's like Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj. They get really catty when it's like.
Well, I think there's
in a rare space where women is.
There's the other thing that women can unite on women's issues. and then also Asian issues. And so they're doubling up on the unity.
Yeah. I mean, I've studied leadership, and generally women are viewed as more collaborative leaders. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
Men tend to be more like divide, conquer, Genghis Khan with it.
Yeah.
It's like almost all guys have some of that Genghis Khan, and women tend to be more, loving and caring. So
Also, I think largely Asian guys don't feel maybe as comfortable as Asian women do in this country in certain ways, because like the pressure to make it is so heavy, because I think there's a sense that if you're an Asian guy and you don't make it, you're not going to live a good life.
Yeah.
Like if you don't make it, like you have to make it just to live a good life.
Yeah, because I guess Asian guys' social value outside of their ability to earn and create is not very high.
Yeah. So I think it's tough.
I'll say this. I understand why a lot of Asian guys don't support each other, but I see so many, because I'm really good at putting teams together in my mind, like a fantasy draft.
Right. Okay.
I'm really good at you want to train basketball and you want to run a basketball camp. You guys are both Asian and you guys live in the same area, like 10 miles away from each other. You guys should start a company together. And I feel like if they were like another less crabs in a bucket mentality type of people, I could just say that to those two people. I could connect them and they would go build a basketball camp that would be around for 20 years or even 10 years. But they would just see each other and be just talking about who was better at basketball or something.
Is there some sense that when a bunch of Asian guys get together, it doesn't look as like heartwarming as obviously like a group of Asian women getting together? Like, oh, hey, Asian women are getting together. That's great. And then you see just a bunch of group of Asian guys and you're like, they're just like angry and frustrated. I don't know. Like, it seems like there's this perception when you see two groups of people and you see a group of Asian women and you see a group of Asian guys. Of course, there's a difference in perception because we're perceived differently and men and women are perceived differently.
Yeah,
so
I
don't know.
I think there's a number of factors, but let me just say this. They should be crabs that build a crab structure rather than pulling each other down from crawling out of the bucket.
How about this? Can we build a crab tower within the bucket so that more crabs can get out?
Yeah, we should just build a system because that's what crabs are famous for, is pulling each other down. You never heard crabs building each other up.
But I did have a delicious crab tower over in Toronto, David.
Fisherman's Terrace.
Yeah, fisherman, lobster house, whatever. Yeah, that spot is fire. All right, number nine. Do you think that the media is downplaying the prominence of Andrew Yang's campaign and kind of shutting him out? Even the left-wing media a little bit.
Yes, I do.
Wow.
And I do not know fully exactly why, but I'll tell you this. That would not be the first time that an Asian man has just been completely ignored on a mainstream media stage. He has accumulated totally enough donations and enough support to be ranked on the charts. They're constantly trying to wash him off the charts.
They're leaving him off the charts.
Even
when he should be there.
When he's accumulated more money in campaign donations than other people who are on the charts.
And did you see that picture where they made him look shorter on stage than he really was? That's crazy.
Yeah, to try to play him out. And
so you got to look at that and be like, yo, it's definitely partially because he's Asian. And there's maybe some other factors into it. Maybe they see him as a disruptor. They're like, oh, he's a distraction, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we even know a lot of Asians who don't support Andrew Yang. Not all Asians support Andrew Yang.
It's
a lot of don't.
And here's the best case scenario. They're not doing it to Andrew Yang because he's Asian directly. They're doing it to him because they think they can get away with it.
Right.
But let's be honest, if Andrew Yang represented any other constituency other than Asian, they wouldn't feel like they could offend that group. So is it because they view him because he's Asian, or it's because they view Asians as weak? It's tough to say, but I'm saying at the worst case scenario, it's because the man's skin is yellow. At the best case scenario, it's because they think that being yellow makes him somebody they can run over.
Damn.
So to me, I'm like,
it's true.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why I'm saying are they washing him out? I don't know. Can't speak on what's the reason why, but yes, I do feel like they are.
And as an Asian guy who has felt shut out of certain things for no apparent reason,
Even when
I
you
feel
hit
that.
the mark, not that you were necessarily going to win, but you deserve to be in the discussion.
I feel it, man. I feel it. And I feel like a lot of Asian guys can sympathize with that.
Ignored, dismissed, hit with the ghost paint.
Dang. But I still think he's making a name for himself this campaign. Yeah, obviously he might not win this time, but who knows next time, man. But yeah, it kind of goes to show you that what people don't want to get behind him, like the other people in the DNC want to get behind him. That's pretty messed up.
It's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful, man. All right, number 10. Here's another issue. Are East Asians only worried about media representation while some Southeast Asians are getting deported? Which is a serious issue. Basically, the question is, are East Asians too caught up in this like media stuff when there's actually more serious issues in the Asian community?
That's a very good question.
It's a tough
First
one.
of all, there's definitely some truth to that statement.
Because there are definitely more immediately serious issues in the Asian community. Absolutely.
Correct.
I agree.
I do think that it is difficult as an entire community to care about everybody's issues, in the sense that that's why the Asian community is not viewed as a cohesive community.
It's very fractionated.
Because not every group cares about another group's issues.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think that we come from a town that is primarily, at least on the Asian side, Southeast Asian.
Yeah.
We know people who have had family members deported.
Yeah.
Whether they didn't get citizenship or they had criminal records, and then certain things stack on each other, and it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's not just Hispanic people that are getting deported, guys. Some Southeast Asians are too.
And it is a bad situation for sure. And I definitely think that,
I do sometimes think that, because we talk a lot about media, and we think about these other things, but what we talk about on YouTube is like the media representation. And sometimes I'm like, man, it's just different levels of problems, man. Everybody has their struggles, every community does. And I think it does just go to show you that the disparity in the Asian community is so large, that Asia is big and Asians is a big group.
Talking about a whole hemisphere.
I mean, it's a huge range. But I'm glad we got to talk briefly about that. I
definitely think it's something that people need to think more deeply about. I don't have the answers, but to completely gloss it over would be a big mistake.
Yeah. Agreed. Last point. Analyzing on forums versus attacking in real life. The classic. We got to end it off on here, guys. And if you haven't hit the like button so far, please hit the like button. Thank you for the algorithm. I mean, we're talking about, what are we talking about here? What specifically?
Everybody is a rowboat. Okay. Like those back
I was waiting for what analogy you were going to bring
back
up.
in the day, when everybody had like those oars.
The rowboats, yeah.
No, but I'm saying that when they had like 40 paddles on
Oh,
each
you mean
side.
the men inside of the ship that
When was that?
Back in the day. Like,
No, they would combine that with the sail to be dual power.
Yeah, maybe that was like in the 1400s. I'm not sure.
All right.
Long time ago.
So everybody has one of those ships. Some people got only 20 people rowing. Some people that are more powerful got 80 people rowing. Some people's rowers are stronger rowers than other people. Then there's the wind. Then there's the ocean. There were so many factors, right? There was the choppiness of the ocean, the depth of the ocean, the amount of rowers, the quality of the wood, the sea air blowing in the sea monsters. Anyway, what I'm saying is you have to understand there's so many factors. And then all you could do is just control your ship.
Okay.
So everybody on Reddit sometimes and on the internet and on Twitter, they love talking about what, maybe their wood wasn't as good as somebody else's ship, or like all these other things that are outside of their control.
I mean, focusing on their weak points that may or may not be out of their control.
Yeah, it's totally valid. If you got stuck in choppy waters and someone just got put in calm seas. But at the end of the day, I do want to caution people to like overly focus on that because at the end of the day, you do have to row your ship to the best of your ability with whoever you got on the ship. Like, let's say I gave you 40 rookie rowers that are working hard, but they're rookies. I mean, they're just not going to go as far as like veteran boat rowers, right? But then I can't just tweet 30 tweets in a row complaining about the rookies.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what you see a lot of on Twitter.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like you're a race car driver and, you have your team, you're at the pit stop, and it's like some people's team is better than others, and some people get better sponsors and have a better car.
They're better funded.
Yeah, better funded, whatever it is. But the driver is just like, yo, you know what? I acknowledge all these things, but I just got to keep driving, and I got to do the best job I can do. And I think that that's a lot of the people on the forums. And like, we lurk on Reddit all the time, and we keep up with the issues because they're still interesting. There's still things we always care about. But at some point I want to ask, like, is Reddit like is that more of like a period of time for people? Like, how many years are you going to be on Reddit complaining and like just being really angry? You know what I mean? Like, how many years are you going to do that of your life? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Can it be a period? Is it something that people pass through? Like, yo, I had my Reddit phase. I got really angry. I posted for a bunch and met some people. Cool. And then I'm like, all right, cool. I got to attack life and I'm out. Or maybe you're never really out. I don't know. I mean, there's so many different levels of it. But that's my question to them if they're watching or listening. I'm just like, how long are you guys going to do this for? I get it. These are the same issues that we could have talked about 20 years ago. They're the same.
Right.
In a way, somebody wrote this crazy comment I saw on YouTube. They were like, these are the same issues as 100 years ago. And I was like, oh man, that's hard. Because I was like, are they? Kind of. They're related. But I'm just saying, these issues might be around for a while. So you guys can stay there complaining, but you'll find community through it. But ultimately, how we're all going to change it is if everybody acted proactively for 1 year, that shit would all change. I think it would change a lot.
Especially if they built teams and they weren't so crabby about it, man. If everybody's not as crabby and more happy for each other.
Dude, if everybody on Reddit was proactive for a year, that is not going to happen.
Start, hated a little bit on each other a little less. We could all do a bunch of things.
Anyways, guys, those are the 10.
I love the rowboat analogy, man. I just was thinking about those ancient ships and
dude, you gotta find the name for it.
Oh man, what is that called? You know how they had like cannons
ancient
and like
rowboats.
Was it the ones the Romans used, or what was it called?
Why is my internet so slow right now? Come on, man. I thought we got 5.
You know what I'm talking about with just the rows.
No, the ancient sailboats, the ancient
warships.
Like Xerxes had them or something. You know what I mean? Like that's the ships that were coming in. Yeah, Trojan horse. They transported the Trojan horse on them. I don't know. All right. Guys, that was the top 10 Asian American issues that you need to follow right now.
We probably could have made a video about all of those things, but we decided to condense it all into this episode of the A3M podcast. You guys, make sure you subscribe. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes. Make sure you check us out on an app called Himalaya.
Ooh, Himalaya. Download the app. Might have exclusive content on there.
Yo, what if we went to the Himalayas and did an episode of this podcast for Himalaya?
Yo, Himalaya, can we do it? Himalaya, can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it?
Might have to.
All right, guys. We want to keep this under an hour, and we did. So thank you so much for listening. This was the A3N podcast. Less edited, more raw. This is like pretty much what you see is what we recorded, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow it on all the iTunes, everything. And Himalaya. All right, everybody. Until next time, we out.
Peace.